All right, what's up, everyone? Best team in the NFC West fan here, and today we're going to be talking about Geno Smith. Namely, Geno Smith absolutely proving everybody wrong in week one. And let me tell you how. They all wrote him off. He didn't write back, whatever that means. Geno Smith had a very good game, at least in the first half on Monday night against the Broncos. And let me be upfront and honest. I am a Geno Smith hater. I was a Geno Smith hater going into the season. And now I'm not going to say I'm a Geno Smith supporter or a Geno Smith liker, but I am a Geno Smith acceptor at the moment. Anyone that can come in and, that was our Super Bowl. Monday night against the Broncos, the Russell Wilson return game to Seattle. That was our Super Bowl. That was the most important game of the season. If we lose every other game for the rest of the year, I'll be content because we won this game, and this game is what mattered the most. Everyone wrote us off, and we won. Russell Wilson came back. Didn't even have that great of a game. Our defense stepped up. Offense in the second half was absolutely horrible, but the defense was amazing. So, Geno Smith, I am a Geno Smith acceptor now that he won us that game because that game meant a lot to us just for the season, for morale, for everything. But let's talk about what he did good. First half, Geno Smith was fantastic. In the game, he had 23 completions on 28 attempts. He completed almost 200 yards for 2 touchdowns, and he was only sacked twice. No interceptions. That's something that you expect out of Geno Smith. Won't make the big mistake, but he might be a little bit boring at times, and that's what I don't like about him. But first half, Geno was exciting. He was using the tight ends. That's something that he did really well. I think everybody knew Geno Smith was going to do that much better than Russell Wilson did in recent years. Russell Wilson just had a knack for not using tight ends and also not throwing between the numbers. That's something I think Geno Smith can do for us is, the between the numbers throw past 10 yards, like that 12-yard slant type of throw. But he used the tight ends very well in the first half. And, of course, that's a scheme thing. Everybody wanted Geno Smith to throw to the tight ends against the linebackers on the Broncos. Pete Carroll was saying it. Geno was saying it. And, probably everybody in the stands was saying it. We got Colby Parkinson to be used. We got Will Dissly being used. Noah Fant had a couple good plays. He could have had a really nice catch, but it got broken up. But overall, tight ends did great. And I will give the credit to Geno Smith on that. Geno Smith is very willing to use the tight ends, and that's something that I like. Tight ends are a very big, strong suit of this team. Of course, we have great wide receivers, but Will Dissly, Colby Parkinson, Noah Fant. We have 3 very, very good tight ends, so we probably have the best tight end depth. We don't have the best tight end one, but tight end depth, like the group as a whole, very, very solid. And it's really nice that we get to see those guys get used because, we didn't get to see him get used for the past 3 years. But Geno Smith, another thing he was doing very well was those out routes, those boundary type of plays. We saw it to DK Metcalf. We saw one to Tyler Lockett. When he was throwing to the boundary near the sideline, he was making them passes. He was throwing very well. It was very quick. He had zip on the ball or whatever people call it. Really good spiral that's moving fast. He was doing very good on those out routes. He was making some good decisions. He drew some flags from the other team, from the Broncos. But overall, he had good decision making. He was making good passes. He was using the tight ends. And probably the biggest thing that we saw him do in the first half that he stopped doing in the second half, which is probably a big, reason for the, lack of success in the second half, he was moving around in the pocket, and he didn't look scared in the first half. When we have young guys that tackle against 2 premier pass rushers, Bradley Chubb and whatever his name is on the right side that came from the Randy Gregory. Those 2 guys, very good pass rushers. And we had Abe Lucas against Gregory, and we had Charles Cross against Bradley Chubb. And in the first half, everything looked dandy. Everything looked fantastic. Geno Smith was moving around in the pocket. He was stepping up in the pocket when pressure would come around to the sides. He broke that tackle when that dude completely ran over Travis Homer. That was the touchdown play to Will Dissly. He was looking really good. He was moving around in the pocket. He would step up when he needed to. He would run. He would try and run people over, trying to get those first downs. That's something that'll get me to support Geno Smith. If we see Geno Smith every game start rolling out and try to run for the first down, and it's he's got 2 yards, he can go out and make it 3rd and 2, or he could try to run over this corner and try and get a first down. If he runs over that corner every single time, or at least tries, that'll be something that can gain my, affection for Geno Smith. But we were seeing that. A lot of moving in the pocket. He didn't look scared. He was making smart plays, great passes, using the tight ends, and he was trying to run people over. He was using his legs very well. That was, I think, the biggest surprise. But then going into the second half, I mean, if you were watching the ESPN broadcast, I don't know what other broadcasts there were. Not the one with Peyton Manning and all them. The real ESPN broadcast. Each time that you saw him get sacked, 2 sacks, both at the hands of Bradley Chubb against Charles Cross, you would have heard them talk about how, yeah, Charles Cross is young and he's getting beat by Bradley Chubb now. He got beat on that play. But there's space for Geno Smith to step up. There's room for Geno Smith to get away from Bradley Chubb. That'll give Charles Cross just that little bit more room to at least try and win the block back. Let's say on 2 of those sacks. Both of those sacks were Charles Cross. Bradley Chubb got around the outside. Geno Smith had space to step up. If Geno Smith steps up, there's no guarantee that Charles Cross wins back that block. Bradley Chubb is amazing. He's a very good player. Charles Cross is still a rookie, but 2 chances. I'd say if Geno Smith stepped up in the pocket on both of those plays, because he had the space. I don't know, I'm not a quarterback, never played quarterback, never had to deal with pass rush. I don't know how you can tell that there's a pass rush behind you, and you're just like, oh yeah, there's someone behind me, I bet. And then you start moving. I don't understand how that works, so I can't really say like, oh, he should have felt the pressure, because I don't know what that means. But if he did step up, let's say he did feel the pressure, he did everything right, he stepped up, I think out of those 2 sacks, only one ends up happening. There was one that Charles Cross was just completely beat, and the other one, it seemed like Charles Cross was kind of, it was kind of like a Bradley Chubb got him through Charles Cross's arm. I think if Geno steps up on one of those, Charles Cross wins back one of those blocks. Geno Smith only gets sacked one time, and who knows what happens on one of those plays. There could be like a 50-yard touchdown if he steps up. Who knows? But the second half, we saw a lot of wide receiver screens to DK Metcalf, which I absolutely hate that play call. If you're going to do a wide receiver screen, you should give it to Dwayne Eskridge and have DK Metcalf blocking. And especially the ones where you have DK Metcalf just by himself, where it's like one corner DK, and then you give it to DK, and it's like, okay, yeah, run over that corner, and then face these like 16 people that are going to run at you because obviously you have the ball and you're standing still trying to beat a corner. I hate the play call of wide receiver screens, especially the ones where it's just one guy standing by himself, and it's always DK Metcalf. Even when we have a wide receiver blocking, it's like DK Metcalf gets the ball, and then you have like the smallest wide receiver you could possibly put in front of him. Like DK is like 6 foot a million, 5 million pounds of muscle. I mean, that dude, you make him block a corner. Dude, that corner's dying on the field. I don't understand why we use DK Metcalf. Of course, I want DK Metcalf to get used. He's on my fantasy team. I like to see DK Metcalf get yards. But when it comes to the success of a wide receiver screen, you should probably put the bigger wide receiver blocking and have a fast receiver behind him that can make moves and cut. But that's just a general play calling thing that I don't like. That's not really a Geno Smith problem. But really, it was just Geno Smith had an absolutely fantastic first half. He was doing everything right. But then the second half, he just kind of, I don't know if, I guess it's the Broncos. They made adjustments, and they really took away the tight ends. We didn't see any tight end usage in the second half, really. But Geno Smith, it was also something of him just not moving around in the pocket. He went back to, just kind of stand there. If the ball doesn't come out immediately, then what do I do? Just keep standing here and then take a sack whenever the pressure comes. But that was basically it. Geno Smith, nobody expected him to do good. I didn't expect him to do good. I thought we were going to get mollywopped by the Broncos. I'm going to be completely honest. I bet for the Broncos. I bet the Broncos to win because, I mean, hey, maybe every team I bet to win will just always lose. So I just bet against the Seahawks every single week, and the Seahawks will win. Speaking of betting, the Seahawks, after beating the Broncos, are a, 9.5-point underdog to the 49ers who lost to the Bears. So if you put $10, you'd win 35. If you bet $100, you win 350 back. I'm not saying to do it. I might have done it. And if we lose, it's my fault because I bet on the Seahawks. I'm sorry. But Geno Smith, very, very good play in the first half. And what I think it comes down to is, of course, using the tight ends. That's something I'd like to see him continue. I want to see him continue to move in the pocket, use his legs, because he is a pretty big quarterback. He can use his legs. He can move in the pocket. And then if he does start to scramble and run, he can run over basically anybody that's not a linebacker. He has a pretty decent chance of getting some extra yards on. And other than that, hopefully our run game does better next week. We're going to have Kenneth Walker and Rashad Penny. Rashad Penny was here, but Kenneth Walker will be playing next week, so that's going to be really good. I think if our run game starts to get going, we can use play action, which I didn't see too much, like actual big plays off of play action on Monday. But hopefully we will get to see that next week against the 49ers. Geno Smith, not a bad game on Monday. Hopefully he can continue what he did in the first half into next week, and we can get some dubs. But let me know down below in the comments what you think about Geno Smith. What did you think about his performance on Monday? What did you think he did good? What do you think he did bad? What do you think he could have done better? Let me know down below in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. And with that, I'd like to thank you for watching. Have a great day.